The zoo hums with weekend energy, families laughing, cameras clicking, children pressing sticky fingers to glass. But then a scream slices through the air. People near the gorilla enclosure step back, eyes wide, pointing. Something small has darted through the security gate. It's a puppy. The little creature, matted fur, floppy ears, tail wagging in nervous bursts, skitters across the grass inside the enclosure. The crowd murmurs in disbelief. A few parents cover their children's eyes, afraid of what might happen next. From the far end, movement stirs. Amara, the zoo's largest female gorilla, over 400 pounds of muscle and quiet dominance, emerges from the shade. Her broad shoulders roll with each step, her gaze locked on the trembling dog. The puppy freezes, nose twitching, then lets out a tiny, high-pitched bark. Gasps ripple through the onlookers. Some expect her to charge, others expect her to swat. Instead, she does something no one predicts. Amara crouches low, her massive hands spread wide, and makes a soft, rumbling sound deep in her chest. The puppy tilts its head, one cautious step forward, then another. Without warning, Amara scoops the pup into her hands. The dog squirms, but she presses it gently to her chest, curling her arms protectively around it. Her fingers, thick enough to snap a branch in half, stroke the pup's back in slow, deliberate motions. The crowd falls silent. Even the children stop fidgeting. A tourist fumbles for their phone, the camera trembling in their grip. In the background, a zookeeper's radio crackles, urgent voices, hurried footsteps. But Amara doesn't move toward them. She stays where she is, rocking slightly, her eyes half closed, as if the noisy world outside her enclosure has melted away. The puppy, sensing no threat, licks her chin, and for a heartbeat, it looks less like a wild animal holding prey and more like a mother holding her baby. What no one knows yet is that Amara was a mother, and that loss still haunts her. The air around the gorilla enclosure buzzes with confusion. Tourists crowd the railing, leaning forward as if proximity might help them make sense of what they're seeing. Amara sits cross-legged in the center of the grass, the small puppy tucked securely in her lap. Her massive hands cup its sides, fingers moving in slow, steady strokes. The puppy's tail wags once, hesitates, then wags again. It noses into her chest fur, searching for warmth. Amara tilts her head, emitting that same low rumble, soft, steady, almost hypnotic. A keeper bursts through the staff gate, breathless, scanning the enclosure. His eyes lock on the site and widen. No, 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 no. Two more zookeepers appear, radios in hand. One moves toward the service door, but the first keeper throws an arm across her chest. Don't rush her, she's not attacking. The younger keeper frowns. Then what is she doing? The answer comes from the man who has worked with Amara for over a decade. Harris, the head keeper, steps forward, his voice heavy with memory. She lost her infant just 3 weeks ago. The words fall over the crowd like a shadow. Harris explains Amara's baby, born small and weak, had died in the night. They had tried to take the tiny body away, but Amara had refused, clutching it for days, rocking it the same way she rocks the puppy now. She had retreated to the far corner of the enclosure afterward, avoiding everyone, barely eating. And now, she had come alive again. The puppy shifts, letting out a tiny whimper. Instantly, Amara pulls it closer, her eyes sharpening with protective instinct. When a younger gorilla ambles too close, she emits a sharp grunt, sending him retreating toward the climbing structure. She thinks it's hers, Harris says quietly, and right now, in her mind, it is. The keepers exchange uneasy glances. A mother defending her young, human or gorilla, can be unpredictable, even deadly. One wrong move, and the situation could turn. Above the murmurs, a child in the crowd asks the question everyone is silently wondering, are they going to take the puppy away? Harris doesn't answer. He just watches Amara rock her new baby, her gaze flicking toward the gathering keepers. She knows they're watching. She knows they want what she has. And she has no intention of letting go. The tension around the gorilla enclosure shifts, thicker, sharper. Amara rises to her full height, the puppy cradled against her chest. She scans the edge of the habitat where the keepers stand, eyes narrowing. The crowd leans in, cameras raised, but Harris lifts a hand, silently urging them back. Then, without warning, Amara turns toward the climbing structure. "She's moving," one keeper hisses into his radio, but it's not just movement, it's ascent. Her long, powerful arms grip the wooden beams, muscles rippling as she hoists herself upward. The puppy lets out a startled yelp, its tiny paws flailing before curling into her fur. Gasps ripple through the spectators. Someone shouts, "She's taking it up there!" From the ground, Harris feels his stomach drop. The highest platform in the enclosure towers nearly 30 feet above the ground. If Amara slips, if the puppy squirms free, the fall would be fatal. A younger keeper fumbles for the tranquilizer rifle, but Harris snaps, "No, you shoot her now, she'll drop it." The radios crackle with overlapping voices. Options? Can we lure her back down? What if she won't come? Halfway up, Amara pauses, shifting her grip on the puppy. She tucks it against her side, one massive hand covering nearly its entire body. The pup's whimper echoes faintly in the heavy air. "Please," a woman in the crowd whispers. Amara climbs again, slower now, her weight making the beams creak. Her eyes flick downward, meeting Harris's gaze for just a heartbeat. He sees something there, not anger, not fear, but resolve. "She thinks she's protecting it from us," Harris murmurs. The wind shifts, carrying the sound of the puppy's soft panting. Every onlooker knows they are watching a countdown, one slip, one sudden noise, and this could turn tragic in seconds. At the top platform, Amara settles, her back to the crowd. She pulls the puppy close, curling around it like a living shield. The world below waits, helpless, for her next move. And Harris knows they're running out of time. Harris's pulse hammers in his ears. Every second Amara spends on that platform is another second the puppy's life hangs by a thread. Around him, keepers shift anxiously, their radios alive with overlapping chatter. Then he remembers. "The blanket," he mutters. Before anyone can question him, Harris bolts toward the staff building, his boots pounding against the concrete. Inside, he rummages through a storage bin until his fingers close on it, a faded green blanket, worn thin at the edges. The same one Amara used to wrap her infant. When Harris returns, the crowd has fallen into a tense, almost reverent silence. Amara is still perched high on the platform, her back arched protectively over the trembling puppy. He steps to the edge of the enclosure, holding the blanket up so she can see it. "Amara?" His voice is low, steady, coaxing. "Look what I have for you." Amara shifts. One dark eye peers down through the beams. "That's it, girl," Harris calls softly. He gives the blanket a gentle shake, letting it flutter in the breeze. "You know this. You remember." The gorilla's nostrils flare. She glances at the puppy, then at the blanket. For a long, breathless moment, she doesn't move. Behind Harris, a keeper whispers, "She's thinking about it." Another keeper, crouched near the gate, slides a small crate of fruit toward the center of the enclosure. Bananas, mango slices, Amara's favorites. Finally, Amara rises, slow, deliberate. She begins her descent, one massive arm wrapping the puppy close as her other hand grips the wooden beams. The crowd leans forward, holding their breath. 20 feet, 15, 10. When her feet touch the grass, Harris doesn't rush. He crouches, blanket extended, voice soft. "That's my girl. Come on." Amara approaches, nostrils twitching, her gaze fixed on the blanket. She reaches for it, and in that instant, another keeper rolls one of the mangoes forward. Her grip loosens just enough. Harris moves. In one swift motion, he slides the puppy from her grasp and tucks it against his chest. The pup yelps once, startled but alive. The crowd erupts, cheers, applause, the sound of someone openly sobbing. Harris backs toward the staff gate, the puppy trembling in his arms. Inside the enclosure, Amara sits down, the blanket clutched to her chest. She doesn't chase, doesn't roar, just watches. And in her eyes, Harris sees it again. Loss. The veterinary team rushes the puppy into a quiet examination room. Harris lingers by the door, heart still pounding from the rescue. Moments later, the vet looks up with a smile. No broken bones, a few scrapes, some dehydration, nothing serious. Relief crashes over him like a wave. Outside, the crowd is dispersing, but the story is already spreading. Phones buzz, videos upload, captions flood social media. Gorilla cradles puppy at city zoo. Back in the enclosure, Amara sits alone in the grass, the faded green blanket pulled tight against her chest. She rocks slowly, just as she had with the puppy, her eyes fixed on the gate where Harris disappeared. The next morning, news crews arrive. Microphones are thrust toward Harris, asking the same questions over and over. Why did she take the puppy? Was anyone in danger? Could she really feel love? Harris answers simply. She's a mother. She lost her baby. She saw something small and helpless, and she needed to protect it. Days later, the zoo announces a surprise. A wildlife sanctuary has offered them an orphaned baby gorilla, a tiny, wide-eyed male with a trembling grip. Harris is the first to meet him, cradling the little one in his arms before opening the door to Amara's habitat. At first, she stays in the corner, watching. The baby makes a soft, uncertain sound. Amara freezes. Then, slowly, she approaches. Her massive hands reach out not to grab, but to cup the infant's head. She pulls him close, pressing her lips to his fur in a gentle kiss. The baby clings to her, tiny fingers disappearing into her thick hair. Harris exhales for what feels like the first time in days. From that moment, Amara is never far from the infant's side. She feeds him, carries him, shelters him beneath her body when it rains. The shadow in her eyes begins to lift. The puppy, now named Lucky by the staff, recovers quickly and is adopted by a zookeeper's family. Sometimes Harris brings him to the edge of the enclosure. Amara always comes to the glass, her eyes soft, her head tilting, almost as if she remembers. And for everyone who witnessed that day, the lesson lingers. Love isn't bound by species, loss isn't bound by language, and sometimes the most unexpected rescues heal more than just the ones who are saved. In the end, what began as a moment of fear became a story the world will never forget. A grieving gorilla, a helpless puppy, and the unshakable instinct to protect, no matter the differences between them. Amara found healing, Lucky found safety, and we found a reminder that compassion can cross any boundary, any species, and any language. If this story moved you, imagine how many others are out there, hidden in the wild, waiting to be told. By sharing them, we shine a light on the beauty, the heartbreak, and the hope that connect us all. So if you believe love has no limits, tell us in the comments. What does Amara's story mean to you? Give this video a like to help more people see it, and subscribe so you never miss the next unbelievable animal story. Because out there, in the most unexpected places, the next story might just change the way you see the world.